year, Marcus Ambose announced he would be leaving JTG Doherty at the end of the 2010 season. With several races left, it looked like Marcus Ambose would become a lame duck for the remainder of the year, until a few weeks later he announced that he would be driving the number 9 for Richard Petty Motorsports under the Ford banner. Things got off to a rocky start this year for Ambose when he wrecked early in Daytona and would go on to finish 37th. At Phoenix, Ambose put the wreck behind him and finished a respectable 16th. Now, with the most recent finish of 4th place in Vegas, the Devil Racer has climbed 10 spots in the point standings, where he currently sits 17th. Season got off to a tough start for Marcus Ambose in Daytona, but as you just heard, he's rebounded nicely. That 16th place finish in Phoenix and at top 5 in Vegas moved Ambose nicely up in the point standings. Pleasure to have Marcus Ambose back here to hub it out. Now, before we get going, I mean, you had a great run Sunday, but we have to look at footage from Friday. Your buddy at Ford, Carl Edwards, got into you on pit road. Yeah, this made headline news as well. So I don't know what he was doing, whether trying to snap my Achilles tendon off or what, but he caught me by surprise, no doubt. That's funny. Hey, so getting back to Sunday, fantastic effort. I know that was the start you had hoped for the first 2 races, sure, but it was there. Yeah, I've got a brand new team to drive for, and obviously there's a lot of pressure that builds on you about wanting to perform for your new sponsor, and Stanley's been so committed to me through that whole turmoil of RPM, through the off-season. You know, they were very loyal to RPM, very loyal to me to see it through, and I just want to perform for them. And, you know, we had a bad start at Daytona, caught up in that crash early on. Pretty quiet day at Phoenix, so we had to do something, and it was my first chance at 1.5 mile oval. I still don't know these cars. I haven't tested on high-speed ovals with RPM, so it was really, you know, a baptism by fire, if you like, on Friday. Got a front row start and then had a great Sunday. Couldn't have been better for us. Marcus, you've been very candid about saying, despite your phenomenal background in the V8 Supercar Series, which is all road racing, yeah, you want to be known as a racer. You don't want to be known as a road racing guy. No doubt, and I came to NASCAR to be a NASCAR driver, and you've got to perform on these intermediate style tracks and super speedways and short tracks. And so, you know, I was feeling that box of road race specialists starting to creep in again, you know, and I've been here for 5 years on NASCAR circuits trying to become, you know, a great oval racer, and I feel like Sunday was, you know, a good step in the right direction of trying to break that mantra. Talk about your relationship with Ford, because you were a Ford guy in Australia, a factory guy, we call it. And you left JTG Doherty Racing and moved to RPM, which was a Ford team. But talk about that relationship. And you had said before that you went to America because of Ford, or here to NASCAR, and spent part of your honeymoon while you were cementing that deal. Yeah, pretty true. And, you know, my whole career when I started racing was really around Ford. Formula Ford in Australia and in England, a little open wheel series. When I got my first paycheck, it was on the back of Ford Australia and their Ford racing program there. But I have to say, without JTG Doherty and Toyota, I would not have made the Cup Series. So I feel, you know, responsible to say that Toyota have been very good to me the last 2 years in the Cup Series, and I thank them very much for it, as well as my old team. But it really is coming back full circle. Here I am back in the Ford racing family again, rekindling you know, the associations I've had in the past. Edsel Ford was very active and proactive in trying to help me get back in the Ford racing family here in NASCAR, and I'm just proud to be representing them. I'm known in Australia as a Ford driver, so it works. You know, it works for everything. My new late model team here in the Carolinas with an Australian driver, you know, it's a Ford as well, so there's got a lot of good synergy, a lot of good things going. You've said also, Marcus, which I love your honesty, that you want to challenge yourself at the absolute highest level. How do you define that success? Well, I want to hand it to Jimmy Johnson. You know, that's what everybody wants to do, right? He's won 5 championships in a row, and you've got to work out, you know, what it is that makes him so good, whether it's a team or his environment or his own driving skills. And I just felt like at JTG Doherty that it was stale for me. You know, it was comfortable. We were in the middle of the field, but, you know, I'm not here to participate. I'm here to win. Otherwise, I'll go back to Australia and sit on the beach for a while. You know, I'm a racer. I want to go out there and win. And it wasn't that the car last year was uncompetitive. It felt like, you know, things had gotten stale, and racing's all about, you know, mixing things up. And for me, I just wanted to really get the most out of myself, and I need to be challenged. And that means, you know, the risk of losing your job week to week. So how long will you give yourself? Because you've also said that you'll move your wife and 2 daughters eventually back to Tasmania in Australia. So how long will you give yourself?
It might not be my choice.
Well, I think you're doing a good job.
So I just want to put myself, in contention, and I feel like shaking things up like I did, for this year has been good for me. I will run that through as far as it can go. I'm not going to put a deadline on it. I'm not going to say, 2 years I'm done. I'm not saying that. I'm going to run this thing until I feel like I'm either not going to make it or I'm winning races and championships.
Will you take us gold mining? I know they're super secret locations, but will you take us where we won't disclose the location?
It depends, I've got gold fever, no doubt about it, and we're finding a lot of gold here in the Carolinas. It's a lot of fun. It's a hobby still. If I ever actually pay for the fuel money to run the machines that I got, then I'll feel like I've actually made it work.
You didn't answer my question.
No, maybe I'll take you. I'll put a blindfold on you, maybe a cone of silence.
All right, we're in. Thanks, Marcus.